play video games, I get really into the story. The story is the thing that I love the most, and I can just sit there and take it all in, and I can have such a good time. There's times that I connect with a certain character tremendously, whether it's because I can relate to him or I understand his story or I just think he's a fucking badass. Like, sometimes it's simple. And one of those characters happened to be Lord Kitamori, or Jubei, as he is known from his birth name. He is the brother of Atsu, the main character of Ghost of Yōtei. Now, Lord Kitamori, or Jubei, was presumed dead by Atsu and us, the players, until we get to Ishikari Plains and we start our hunt for the Ani. We find out that Jubei was with Atsu and they tried to escape the Yōtei 6, but Jubei was ultimately shot and fell from a small cliff. Atsu had assumed that her brother had passed, and Jubei was rescued by a samurai and nursed back to health. Jubei never returned home, and he assumed his sister Atsu was murdered alongside his whole family. Now, the thing with Jubei is that he had these ambitions from when he was a kid. He wanted to become a samurai. He wanted to be a fighter and protector of people. And as he grew up, he tried to pull everything that happened in his life in the past. He almost tried to bury it. And that's sometimes some things that we may do. Bury our emotions deep, and we think we're helping. We think it's the best thing. But in reality, we're just hurting ourselves and hurting those around us because we have something inside of us that, we've never been able to move on from. And I think that's something that Jubei, struggled with tremendously in his life. And when you first meet, Lord Kitamori in the Ishikari Plains entrance, you kind of get to see what kind of character he is. He's honorable. He's a leader. Very soon after that, him and Atsu begin a conversation, and he notices that Atsu has his father's blade. He asks where he got it, and after this, Jubei tells Atsu that he's her brother. And that scene was so powerful. I began this journey as Atsu, and I was filled with the same, I think, anger and vengeance, because when I become a character in the game, I want to feel those emotions. And I'm like, I'm killing all these motherfuckers. The Yōtei 6 is going down because they fucking murdered my family and killed my brother. So I wanted revenge. And not for 1 second did I think anyone survived. Not for 1 second did I think Jubei was going to be alive. I really didn't. And I didn't think that was him until they started talking. I said, no. And as soon as he said, you don't recognize your own brother, I said, fuck. Wow. I got goosebumps just thinking about it right now. The scene was so good. And from that moment on, you get to see a different side of Lord Kitamori. He becomes Jubei again. He becomes a brother to Atsu. The happiness in Atsu, the happiness and relief in both Atsu and Jubei's face when they find out that they have each other, it was undescribable. For 16 years, they went without each other. For 16 years, they both went thinking that they were dead, along with their parents. It was such a powerful moment. When I found out that Jubei was alive, I was not as angry anymore, to be quite honest. To me, it didn't defeat the purpose of the story, because if anything, I thought, okay, now we're still going to get the Yōtei 6. They still murdered our family. They still separated us. But now Jubei is going to be here, and he's going to help, and we're going to fuck him up. The reason that I find Lord Kitamori such an incredible character, I think, is because of everything that he went through in his life. Now, we know that Atsu went through a lot as well, and the main character of the game is Atsu. She's a fantastic character. But Jubei was a character that I think was my favorite character in the entire game. His story was so good in particular, and I think him having this divide, this internal battle with himself about these two different personalities that he has, almost these two different identities. He has Lord Kitamori, the samurai, who is a leader and a father and wanting to do right by his clan, right? Wanting to do right by his commander and his people. And then you have the other side of him, that's Jubei. I want to say almost the real version, the version that he buried, the version that he wanted to forget, but it comes back and now he has to face this internal battle, right? And I actually felt that Jubei was similar in a way to Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima. That internal battle that they had. I grew up knowing this my whole life, and now I'm making some changes. Maybe things are a little bit different. Maybe I'm forced to be something else. I really liked the character, and I really felt that there was a comparison between the two. I think he was very skilled. I think he was very smart. He also wasn't overly emotional. This game felt so grounded. It felt so realistic in the way that he handled his emotions. I I continued to grow and like Jubei the more that I spent time with him, the more that I saw him, the more that we did missions together. And I think it had such a cool dynamic. Now, one of the things that I was extremely scared about during the entire hunt for the Ani was that Jubei was going to die. I had this feeling that Jubei was just going to get killed during the Ani because of everything that he had been through, because of just how these games go sometimes. You know, you find something, you lose it, and then you are filled with rage again and vengeance to continue your story, because this is Atsu's story, not Jubei's story, not Lord Kitamori's story. And so I had a feeling that that was going to happen. There was a time where we used Jubei as bait to get close to the Ani, and then there's this big fight that breaks out, and then you see Jubei fighting on the bridge by himself, and Atsu is really far and she's trying to get to him. Holy shit. I truly thought Jubei was gonna fucking die there. And I was like, don't kill him off. Please don't kill Jubei off. Come on, like let's have some happiness for once. And I run towards Jubei like as quick as I can, and I'm just waiting for the cutscene where he gets killed. And when I get there, to my surprise, Atsu actually arrives in time. They both fight together side by side, and then the Ani appears. And he starts talking some shit. You wanted to kill me, you thought there weren't gonna be any consequences, he says. Atsu is there kind of posted up waiting, and then Jubei gets in front of her and he's like, let's fucking go, let's get this over with. And I was like, yo, Jubei's a real one, man. And then they blow up the bridge and Atsu and Jubei fall into the river. But he didn't die. We continue our story. We get to the Ani and we're able to kill him with Jubei. They avenge their father. I thought it was very poetic, very beautiful. And I think that Jubei learned and grew a lot throughout this story the same way that Atsu did. You know, we talked a little bit about Atsu going from this vengeful, enraged person who was almost willing to take her own life at the end of everything, to learning that she had her family, to learning that her brother was there, that she was loved, and that she could move on and be more. And Jubei went from this person who was maybe lonely, quiet, and reserved, to remembering how he was when he was a kid, and to opening up and being hopeful again, finding his sister, knowing that there's actually more to life. He's not truly alone. He had his daughter, but now his family can be bigger again, you know? This was Jubei's story as much as Atsu. It felt to me that way, at least. As the story progressed, you continue to see Jubei grow and mature. You find out that he has a daughter. He was raising his daughter alone, but he also had the burden of his people, Clan Matsume. He was a person that just seemed very responsible and very grounded. And he didn't want to make everyone happy, but he had a responsibility to things, and he wanted very fiercely to do the thing that he was supposed to do. I think that's honorable and a great characteristic to have in a video game character. And now as the story went on, there was a scene that I thought, this encapsulates Jubei's character completely. Right at the very end of the game, almost to the final battle, Jubei and Oyuki get captured by Lord Saito, and he has them kneel down in his room, and he is like belittling both of them. And you could tell that Jubei has been getting beat up and tortured and stuff like that, and he's not saying anything, but Lord Saito threatens Oyuki. Jubei jumps in and defends her.
哀れな女よ。狐は狼にはなれん。なぜそれほどの忠義を立てなかった。わしに。雪に触れるな。小っぱが抜かすな。
And if you already know who Oyuki is, then that's a big thing, because you knew that Jubei at first didn't like her, at first didn't trust her. And for him to speak up on her behalf and try to protect her fucking shows just what kind of guy he was. He was a protector. We get to the final battle of the game against Lord Saito with Atsu. Lord Saito has Kiku, and Lord Saito tells Atsu that he wants to fight her only. And so Atsu gets Kiku and tells her brother to leave alongside Oyuki, and they leave and you fight Lord Saito. Now, when we got to that point, honestly, I was very happy, because I said, okay, good. I get to fight Lord Saito alone. I don't want anybody here, because I don't want fucking Lord Saito to kill anybody. And I knew that if Oyuki stayed, if I knew if Jubei stayed, they might want to do something where he kills one of them. And so since they left, I thought I was in the clear. And then I see Atsu grab her robe with all the names of her targets, and she burns it. And she says, I have something new to live for. I have a new family. I was so fucking excited. I was so fucking hopeful. I thought to myself, we're about to beat the dog shit out of Lord Saito. And then we get to spend the rest of her fucking life fighting and exploring Ezo, spending time with my brother and his daughter, and seeing my friend Oyuki. I thought I was gonna have it all. The new family, the wolf pack, was there. And as I'm fighting Lord Saito, I had finally given up the thought of Jubei dying. I had finally said, no, they're definitely not gonna kill him. They did a great choice here. I'm very happy for this. And we're fighting, and then out of nowhere, Lord Saito hits me and all my health goes down, and he's about to strike me down. And I see Jubei come in. I got deflated. I was like, no, Jubei, bro, go back, dog. I got it. I'm the main character. I'm not gonna die. Wait. But no, it didn't happen that way. Jubei said, I got this, and he fought him, and motherfucker, Lord Saito somehow got the upper hand on him and stabbed him, and he gave him a killing blow. It enraged Atsu. Atsu went on to defeat Lord Saito and stab him against the tree. But what I found so sad during this whole scene is that his daughter Kiku comes up crying and gets to him. Jubei is choking on his own blood, basically, and he's not able to say anything. He's not able to say anything on the ground. He's not able to say anything to Kiku. He's not able to say anything to Atsu. He's just looking at Atsu, and Atsu tells him that his daughter is never going to be alone. And you just see the fucking, like, the sadness, the relief, all these emotions you see in Jubei's face and his eyes, and he's not able to get out a single word. And I thought that made it even more real. I think that made it very difficult for me, and I think it left me in a really sad spot, because I really, truly in my heart believed that he was going to survive this game, and I thought we were going to have a good, happy ending. My point is, when he died, I just got super freaking sad. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't have been sad if any other of our friends had passed, but Jubei fucking going, I hated that, man. Jubei was such a good character. I've gotten very angry sometimes when a certain character dies from a video game series that I'm playing that I liked or that I thought had more potential, that he could have done more. And I feel like with Jubei, I wanted to go down the same road and like, well, he could have done more. I feel like if he stayed alive, it would have been better because this, or that. And I still think it would have been better had he survived. But him dying, the only consolation that I can give myself, and I said this in my story explained video, was that Jubei, throughout the whole story, knowing that he found his sister again, knowing that he had a daughter at home, he continuously said, it is better for us to die in battle, it is better for us to die defending our people than to die somewhere else. My point is, he was a samurai through and through. He had this honor, he had this war in him. He knew that at some point he may die. He knew at some point he would get killed. But he also knew that he wanted to die defending the people. That was his thing. He was selfless like that. And at the end of the day, Lord Kitamori, also known as Jubei, died fighting the biggest threat that he ever knew. He died fighting the person that was holding Ezo, his home, hostage. He died fighting the man responsible for the death of his parents. And he died fighting, protecting his friend Oyuki. He died fighting, protecting his sister Atsu. And he died fighting, protecting his daughter Kiku. And I think that's the best fucking way to go if you gotta go. He didn't die a death that was unworthy of the character that I believe Jubei was. He died a warrior's death. He died protecting. That's fucking something. That means something. That means something in the world of Ghost of Yōtei. That means something in the world of the samurai that this game is based in. And I found some consolation in that, to be honest. He died knowing that they defeated Lord Saito. He died knowing that his daughter and sister and his home were protected again. And that's a beautiful story within itself. I wanted to give Jubei his flowers. I really did. And Atsu deserves them. The whole game of Ghost of Yōtei deserves them. And there's still so much more to learn and find out. But Jubei needed to get his props here today.